Okay, well done. Got both of them. So, moving on to new things. So the first thing we got another new rhythm. This time every bar is the same rhythm, even though it might look a little different. So we're gonna start working on upbeat or offbeat focus stuff. Sometimes you'll hear people call it syncopation because it can feel like things are like being played in weird places. So what we have here, starting off with 2/8 notes in a row, so common stuff. And then it looks like basically 2/8 notes in a row here. But then we have this 8th note tied to that 8th note. So what we're going to be doing is playing on the downbeat of 1, upbeat of 1, downbeat of 2, upbeat of 2, but that carries across the downbeat of 3. So we're gonna play again on the upbeat of 3, downbeat of 4. So something very important to keep in mind when you are strumming this, we need to strum down on the downbeat and up on the upbeats. So down on the downbeats, up on the upbeats. So like when you have, let's say, 2 quarter notes in a row or something like this, 2 downbeats in a row, you strum down, you miss the strings on coming back up, and then you hit it on the down. So when you're doing, multiple downstrokes in a row, you got to keep missing the strings on the up, right? So you're going to be here, basically just 2 upstrokes in a row. So you hit the upstroke, bring the hand back down to be ready for the next upstroke. Now, comparing the top 2 bars to the bottom 2 bars, we can just do this one to this one. So mathematically it's the same. So rhythmically it is the same. Often in guitar profiles or tabs and stuff you find online, maybe even in magazines, books, and all that, you'll see the same kind of rhythm written out like this instead. It's quite common. I find this is the easier way of reading it, especially just sight reading it, because with this you can much more, or you can quickly see where all the different beats are. So that's everything for beat 1. Here's everything for beat 2, everything for beat 3, everything for beat 4. And then with the ties up here, you can see that this upbeat is tied to the downbeat. So you can see this is where the downbeat lines up. We don't have anything tabbed out down here because we're not playing anything on that part of the rhythm. So down here, you got 2 eighth notes in a row, and you got this 8th note, this 8th note. So that's what a single 8th note looks like all by itself when it's not joined together or beamed together. And then here, the 8th note tied to the 8th note, well, that's 2 8th notes long. A quarter note is 2 8th notes long. And then we got the 8th note, quarter note, quarter note. So it's the same thing rhythmically, just looks a little different. So I want you to get, some practice seeing both ways. So it's 180 top speed again for the rhythm. Just play along with Guitar Pro. I'm going to do it with just the click so you can hear how it is with just the click and the counting and all that. So we're just going to say the rhythm that's being played. And let's see. I think that's about it. So yeah, we do have just the same chord twice in a row here. And then down to the F5, up to the G5, and the repeats. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to count it off by saying what the rhythm is. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. Down, up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, down. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and 2 and 4. Down, up, down, up, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down. 1 and 2 and 4. 1 and top speed to reach. And if you don't reach this, that's totally fine. But here we go. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, number 2. We're also going to start working with some single notes now. And no need to cap out at 180 for this. I'm curious if you can go any faster. So like 240 is a great speed to reach for this sort of thing, to turn things in early. So yeah, you're always welcome to turn stuff in early if you're reaching those top speeds that are mentioned here. So 180 for number 1, 240 for number 2. So we're basically just climbing up a pentatonic, an A minor pentatonic scale. Yeah, just 5, 8, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, 5, 8, 5. And we're just going to go 1 and 2, 3 and 4, all the way up. You don't need to count this one because you've already drilled this kind of rhythm many times. However, anytime you're doing a lead thing, single note thing, nothing wrong with counting along with it. It's not as important, I feel, as doing the chord strumming stuff, because when we're doing the chord strumming, I feel it's a bit easier just to hold one chord and strum a bunch of stuff and count a bunch of stuff. But as we get more involved or in depth with these things, that's a lot to think about. We're going to have a lot to think about. So if you need to count it, if you can't, understand the rhythm at first, that's totally fine. But, as things get going faster and faster, it's harder to count along with this stuff. And it's not really all that necessary, especially if you can, feel it and you're locked into it and, still play with Guitar Pro here. So this one, just nothing fancy with it. Just follow along with Guitar Pro to make sure you're lining up with the notes proper. So make sure you have the metronome turned on for this. Did I put in drums? Well, yeah, I did. Never mind. I don't know why I didn't think I added drums and bass. Yeah, there's drums and bass, so never mind. It's not just, yeah, there's stuff there to make it more fun to play with. Anyway, I forgot what I did. So yeah, I'm going to play along with just the metronome. So things to keep in mind here, like, well, things I'm going to be looking for is how clean all the notes sound as you are changing strings. So we need to make sure that string noise is not happening. In fact, I'm going to pull up a video right now to send you that involves muting strings, just in case you find a bunch of string noise when you're climbing higher and higher. Let's see. Yes, there it is. Okay. Yeah, I'll be sending that in this email. Okay. Anyway, all right, so let's get into it. But yeah, just briefly, still watch the video if you need to, if you find yourself having unwanted string noise. So your left hand, your fretting hand, the index finger really needs to just gently rest across all those higher pitched unused strings. And as you climb higher, your picking hand needs to start making contact with the lower pitched unused strings, so this way they're not ringing out. And the index finger is also right up underneath the adjacent strings. So when I'm on the low E string, index finger lays across those other 5 strings. When I'm fretting on the A string, my index finger is up underneath the low E and laying on top of, gently, the D, G, B, and high E. So then when I'm fretting on the D string, index finger is up underneath the A string, muting the G, B, and high E. And then the picking hand, that's laying on top of the low E string. So basically just works like that. Okay, here we go. 1 and 2, 3 and 4. 3, 4. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. One, two, 1, 2, 3, 4. And that is that. All right. Any questions come up, let me know, and I'll see you again in new videos.